that when setting boundaries, one thing that's important is you have to define what the boundary is. So like, what is the boundary that you're setting? Yeah. And you have to know like what you're saying. Like self-awareness will help you set the boundaries. Say you love me, rain or shine. Don't leave me right or die. Say you gon' keep me through the night. You and I by my side. Say you love me, rain or shine. Don't leave me right or die. Hey, what's up?
Welcome back.
What's up?
Oh, what's up?
Welcome back.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. What's up?
Welcome back, y'all. It is
in
episode.
The building.
Sorry, in the his house.
In the his house.
In the his house. Raise the roof. Yo, welcome back. It is episode 18.
18.
Come on, man.
I got it. 18.
Oh, 2 more episodes till 20. I'm so excited.
Look at us. I'm here. Achieving.
I'm here doing things. Oh my God. Was that 18? I don't know. Counts. So, wow. Episode 18. Shall we start like we usually do, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
So please, let's all clear our throats together. And it goes like this. Ree and Liz, yeah. Ooh! Ree and Liz, yeah. Whoa! Ree and Liz, slow it down.
Ree and Liz, yeah.
And you're watching The Awkward Adventures of Church Girls.
Hey, welcome back to episode 18 of Ree and Liz, hosted by myself, Kim, and
Gloria.
So we're excited to have you back this week. Another week.
We have a jam-packed episode for y'all, so I don't know about you, but I'm excited.
So we're gonna kick it off the way we normally do with our song of the week. I think
why are we singing? Why are we so song?
I don't know, we're like in a sing-songy mood today. Yeah. Okay.
So what's the song of the week, Kim?
Song of the week this week is a song called This Far, and it's by Chastity and featuring Parris Chariz. Parris Chariz features on Pastor Mike Todd's new album, and Chastity is like a young singer. I don't know if she's from Atlanta, but she lives in Atlanta, and she's really dope vocalist. And I think this album is on the 116 summer album that they put out.
I think so too.
So it's on there, and it's a really dope song. It'll be added to the Ree and Liz playlist. And so here we go.
Yeah, you ain't been picking up my calls. I've been wondering. I know the things that you asked for me, and I ain't listening. Do you still hear me? I know sometimes I'm too much. You said you'll never give up, so don't give up.
Okay.
Ooh, I didn't come this far for you to leave me.
Come on, that's a word, right?
Pause. Wow.
Because she says you said in your word that you would never forget me. So that's a reminder to someone who's watching that the Lord has not forgotten you.
Exactly.
Because you're probably like, Lord, it's November and it's almost done. The year's almost done. And He gonna hear my prayer. Yes, He will. He heard you. So don't you worry, you're not forgotten. And so we just wanted to give you some encouragement. You can go listen to the rest of the song and be encouraged, and remember that the Lord has not forgotten you, because it's in His word. He will never forget you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Come on, NSYNC.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, something.
So, I learned a new word. Okay, I'm trying to use it correctly. Okay. So the song is a vibe, no cap. Did I use it right? I just learned what no cap means.
Okay, so
means.
I don't even remember when you didn't know when no cap. I think we were with our friends, and I was like, "Is it just me, or I can smell cap?" And like for those who you know what I'm saying, right? Someone was capping in the room.
I don't know.
But Kim was just like, what do you mean no cap? I was like, you know how people say no cap?
No,
if I can smell cap, it's cap.
No, you said capping. And then I was like, what does that mean? Right? And then you explained what capping was. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's like when people say no cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're capping, then you're lying.
Yeah, so I'm not lying. So no cap. The song is a vibe. Because you said like, yeah.
No cap. The song is tough still.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be one of the cool kids, okay?
You don't have to try. You are one of the cool kids.
Oh, thanks. I'm a cool kid. Y'all heard that. Okay, Gloria, what's the topic this week?
So the topic today is on, drumroll please, boundaries.
Ooh.
You see the border here? It's a boundary. No, I'm joking. No, but seriously, today is on boundaries, and I was just like thinking about it. I think also recently I was listening to a podcast or watching a video, and they were talking about setting healthy boundaries, not within just like, like you and your significant other, but also with your friend groups, and also what you expect from that other person so that there's no miscommunication. So yeah, so like Kim, like what are some boundaries that you have? Or better yet, like when did you discover that you needed to put boundaries in place?
Ooh.
That's so tough.
I think boundaries are important just so you don't feel like people are taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I never used to set boundaries with people. I'm just like, okay, cool, you can come to my house now. Or like, I won't say no. Like, I'm just like, okay, it's fine. Yeah, sure, walk all over me. It's alright. Like, and I was literally like that kind of person. And then, like, I became friends with one of like my good friends, and she, like, from the jump, she was like, okay, this is our friendship, and she sent me like a list of boundaries and how she expects me to communicate with her, when to communicate with her. She was very clear about like if she asks me, if she tells me something, she expects a follow up, and I was like, oh, I've never had that. Like, so she was like, she tells me something personal, she expects me to follow up and say, hey, how's that thing going? Da 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 da. And so I was like, oh, boundaries are important. Or like, she'd be like, I'd prefer if you don't ask me questions pertaining to this. When I'm ready, I'll let you know. And so I think that was my first like real encounter with like how to set boundaries. And that's probably only like 3 years ago.
Yeah. And
then I guess before I was just kind of winging it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think for me it was definitely the same way. Like, in that regard, me and Kim are very alike. Like, I just don't say no, and I kind of let people walk all over me. And I do it at the expense of my, like, at myself. So it wasn't until, actually Kim had set a boundary for me. And I
did?
Yeah.
What is it?
So, it was, like, when I had first met Kim or whatever, and, like, I claim that I'm not a touchy person, but I just am, so I just had to accept it. So I'd always want to give Kim hugs and stuff like that, and she'd be like, actually...
I take hugs.
Actually, be like, just at the beginning it was like...
No, I take hugs, I just don't like people rubbing up on me.
Yeah, okay, when you say it like that, I wasn't rubbing up on Kim. I would just be like, what? I don't know what hi Kim.
No.
I don't know.
No, because you're like super cuddly. Like you.
Oh yeah, I like to.
I'm not a cuddly person. Like I'll hug, but like it can't be like we're embracing for 60 million years. Like why is that happening? Like unless something is happening, you're crying or whatever. Yeah, sure. But like I'm like, it's hot. It's 34 degrees. Yeah. Why are we still like on each other like this?
No, and like I will cuddle in any weather. You give me summer, spring, fall. With any time I have a blanket and I'm ready to cuddle. But no, Kim was just like, that's enough, like type of thing, in like a very sweet way. And I was like, oh, okay. And like through that,
unnecessary touching. I feel attacked.
No, it was a good thing because like. Through that, I could understand her more. So like, if she were to ever get mad at me or something, like it wouldn't be misdirected anger or something like that. I knew where it was coming from because I wasn't respecting her boundary. And through that, I was kind of like, shoot, like I have this anger and animosity towards people, and they don't even know because of an area where I felt violated, but I didn't properly communicate my boundary. And so that's when I was just like, okay, cool. And that was also recently after I watched that thing. So literally, like, the person I went to all my friends. I was like, okay, so like, what are your boundaries and what do you like expect from me? And then I did, because I was just like, oh my gosh, like I haven't been doing this, and through that, like I've been getting better. But I find that like, especially for a person that like doesn't like to say no, because I don't like to disappoint people, it's hard to set boundaries, even if they're there.
Yeah, I get that. Like sometimes I just have to be like, no one's coming to my house today. I just need alone time.
And like not feel bad.
Yeah, like because before I would feel bad, but then now I'm like, no, I actually do need moments to just like be in silence and just listen to nothing, and like it's okay. And then like there are moments where I'm just like, okay, cool, now I want people in my house, but I just occasionally would like a moment of just, because sometimes it's like we're on the go constantly, like doing stuff at church, work, school, and just like go, and then you don't really have time to just like gather your thoughts and like pray and like just be with God. So I think it is important to set boundaries. So I think that's one reason why boundaries are important, because it allows you time as well to reflect and grow and see like, okay, what conversations have I been having in the last few weeks? How can I improve? Because if you're constantly like just doing stuff and talking, like you don't really have time to review yourself. And so I think boundaries are important in that way. And even just like I'm the type of person, if you come to my house, like it's your house, like that's what I tell everyone. So don't expect me to serve you drinks, don't like, unless it's your first time visiting. But like once you're at my house, you're part of the property, you're washing dishes, you're sweeping, put in the work, because this is your home. So but I also like will say like you can't go into my bedroom because that's like my place of rest, and so you can't just be in there. And like like just different spaces in my little apartment, like some things I'm like, okay, no, this is for me, this is for everyone. So it's important to just like say that, but you can say it in a nice way. Or like for me, I don't drink, so I prefer people not to bring alcohol into my home, just because it's not me, it's not something I do. So I don't want that to be the impression when people come into my house. So like setting smaller boundaries, but I think boundaries also go across the board, like in work, school, we have to set boundaries, in relationships and friendships, even with family members, we have to set boundaries. Like there's some family members you're like, no, you can't speak to me in that manner, like I don't want to hear it.
I'm so sorry, but what? No.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm just like, in regards to like the way people speak to me, I think there's a level of respect as well, because you can't really place a boundary there where you don't respect yourself. Like I respect myself to a certain manner where I will not allow someone to talk to me a certain way. I'm just like, wait a second, like my parents don't even talk to me like this, no one talks to me like this, so I will not like expect that from you. But it came with like a level of, I respect myself in a certain manner. So I think there's a level of like self-care and self-love and also self-awareness. Like you can't, like when I was able to set boundaries, and I'll share what some of my boundaries are at the end, but I was able to set boundaries after I became self-aware of myself. I realized, okay, when people say this, I actually really don't like it. Like I really don't like when people call me extra personally, because I feel like it's used in such a negative context, and I just have a big personality. So when people would call me extra, I would like feel down about myself and feel like I wanted to change, and I can't. So that was something that I needed to do, and be like, okay, I really don't like this. But it came to the realization of me being self-aware and be like, okay, I really don't like when people do that, or I really don't like when people comment on this, etc., etc. And that's how I was able to like set boundaries in that regard. But also like coming to self-aware, I was watching Divorce Court. Okay.
Always.
So I'm always watching Divorce Court. First, because it's funny, honestly. And secondly, because I love Judge Lynn Toller. She retired, sadly. And she honestly gives such great advice. And she was talking to this couple about how their marriage just sadly wasn't going well. And she said that in order to improve, then you have to be self-aware. And she's like right now I can give you a list of 20 things that's wrong with me, but because I know those 20 things, I'm able to improve on them. So she gave them the opportunity to be like, okay, like what are some things that you could work on, some things that you could do better. And they could only list like one or two things without like including the other person. Well, I don't like it when this person does this to me. And she's like, wait, hold up. Like, in order to be able to change who you are first, you need to be self-aware. It's something that needs to happen. You can't just go through life not being adamant. Mm-hmm. No. You know, guys, I don't know why I try to use big words, you know? I really don't understand. No, but you need to be self-aware in order to change and to become a better person in general.
Yeah, like you can't be stubborn about like, this is the way I am. This is
because you'll never grow at all. Yeah. Like I remember I was reading Proverbs and it said about how like if you give like counsel to like the foolish, they'll like hate you, but if you give counsel to the wise, then they'll love you. And you're like someone who wants to grow, you can see that there's wisdom in them, that there's an eagerness to be teachable and to become better. You know, like saying, oh, this is how I am, and if you don't like me for who I am, blah, blah, then that's when you find yourself in continuous cycles and you'll never get out of them.
It's true. I can't remember what I was saying about like, but yes, I agree.
Well, you know, when you just go...
No, it's because you stole my point as you were talking. So now I'm like...
Oh, I'm sorry. See, great minds
I'm going to
like so
stealing my points. I'm just going to put my notebook like this. So
no, I wasn't even looking at it.
I'm just going to hold my book.
I wasn't even...
I'm setting boundaries, okay?
Wow.
No, jokes. I agree. I think that when setting boundaries, one thing that's important is you have to define what the boundary is. So like, what is the boundary that you're setting? Yeah. And you have to know like what you're saying. Like self-awareness will help you set the boundaries. Mm-hmm. So like, personally, I don't like when people comment on my appearance because I do look way younger and they're like, oh, you mean the little girl? Like one of my friends once told me that and I was like, listen, those are fighting words. Like, if we're gonna be friends, you'll need to actually address me as a grown person. Like, I'm a whole grown up. I may not physically look like one, but I'm an actual adult. And so I had to be like very stern, like, listen. And then she stopped because she would always be like, oh yeah, you know the little girl who's like, and I'm like,
whoa.
I'm like, I'm short, but I'm not like, I can call myself little, but other people can't call me little. Like, don't do that. Yeah. So one, you have to define what the boundary is. Then secondly, you have to communicate it, but don't be rude. Don't be like, first of all, I don't like it when like that's also not the right way to do it. Yeah. Just be like, hey, listen, I noticed that you keep saying that I'm extra. That's how Gloria said it. Gloria's like, hey guys, so I don't like it.
I'm just like, hi, I'm Gloria.
When you call me extra because it just comes with it. Like, I understood what you're saying because you know everyone has their thing that they don't like. Yeah. Then secondly, stay simple. Like, don't over explain. When you said what you said, okay?
I said what I said, okay?
No, there's no need to then be like, it's actually because when I was 5, and then no, just say what the boundary is, communicate it, and that's it. And then lastly, set consequences. Like, hey, listen, if you keep overstepping this particular boundary that I've set, the consequences, we may not be friends anymore because I can't be in a toxic space because this thing is toxic for me, and so I need to distance myself from toxicity because I want to be a mentally, emotionally healthy person so that I'm a spiritually healthy person so I can be able to do God's work. But I can't do God's work if I'm frustrated and angry and bitter towards people because then I'm not walking in love, I'm not walking in peace, I'm not walking in unity, and those are things that God requires us in order for us to have impact in like ministry and like spreading the gospel. So I think that there is an importance in doing that because one, it allows us to have transformation in ourselves personally and also allows us to be loving. And I think these are good skills to learn even as for single people, especially because then when you're married, you also be able to, because when you're married, it's not just going to be free flowing. There'll also be boundaries. Like just because someone's married to you doesn't mean they can do whatever they want or they can speak out and turn with you. Like you still have to like continuously be communicating those things.
Yeah, and I think I was also listening to Maya Angelou, and she was being asked what was the greatest advice that she's ever given, and she said the greatest advice that she's ever given was to her son, and her son was at a stage where he's like, "Mom, I just want more friends," and she's like, "Well, are you prepared to be a friend?" And I think, especially when it comes to relationship and your boundaries, even in your single state, are you prepared to be a wife? Are the boundaries already in place for you now to, like, when you are a wife, you don't have to switch up your whole life. You know what I mean? Like, you're already, I guess in a sense, acting like a wife.
Yeah.
Is that the right term? Acting like a wife?
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. So, like, in a friendship, like, do you already have the things that you want? Like, are you already a good friend? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you have the characteristics that someone would want to be a friend and stuff like that? So I thought that was really cool. And I think also within, like, setting boundaries, I think for me, the hardest part was communicating my boundaries, because I never wanted someone to feel like, oh shoot, like I'm shooting, like I'm jabbing you or something like that. But honestly, it will make your friendships stronger. Like, I was so scared that I was like, dang, everyone's gonna think I'm so sensitive. Especially with the extra thing, it was a big part of me for like a while. And I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's gonna think I'm so sensitive. They can't say anything around me. They're not gonna be able to talk freely around me. But honestly, it just took away the anger that I had towards them without them knowing. And it's just made our bond stronger. So don't feel scared about doing it if your friends or the people that you're relaying these boundaries to don't take it nicely, then that just shows their character to you. Because ultimately, like, in every relationship that you have, you want to grow and you want to become better. So it is something that we need to have just as much as we need to have standards.
Yeah, and I also think when you set boundaries, those boundaries have to be applicable to you. So, like, you can't tell people, like, oh, like, don't talk about my size or, like, my body, and then turn around and do that. So, like, I don't expect people to make uncalled for comments about my body type or my size, and because I never talk about people's weight, their size, their body shape or whatever, because, like, and so because I expect people not to do that to me, I have to have the same expectation. Or, like, at work, in the workspace, my expectation is that don't use vulgar language around me, because I don't plan on using vulgar language around you. And so you have to set those, like, whatever boundaries you're setting, you have to apply them to yourself. Like, you can't just set boundaries and be like, you have to call me first before like, you come to my house, but then I just show up at your house and
all the time.
Like,
all the time. Not saying that she does it, but there's some people.
Like, it didn't, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you have, whatever rules you're setting have to be applicable to you as well.
Because if not, then what's the point? I don't know.
Yeah, you're just being bossy at that point. Like,
I'm bossy. Okay, anyways. But no. Yo, sorry, that song just really came in and out of my head.
Help her, Jesus.
No, seriously, and I think one thing that helped me was, like, writing your boundaries down and having it in a place where you can see them. Because I feel like we even have to have boundaries with ourselves. Like, in a sense of, I will not think of myself like that. That is not good for, that is not healthy. And we need to put it in a place that we can see daily. Because there's something about you seeing something with your eyes. And I think, especially for me, it was very important, which is why when I renovated my room, I made a chalkboard wall to be able to write things down that I can see daily and be like, no, this is how, because it's a constant reminder, right? So I think definitely have boundaries within yourself as well, because we need to respect ourselves at the end of the day. How will you respect others if you can't respect yourself?
Why sorry, I just had like that.
I just had like a moment. I felt like it was so
all right,
deep.
I think we've come to the end of our show.
I do think we have.
But that was good. So I think just task everyone, just write out some boundaries and like share them with your friends. It's gonna be scary. Start off with one. Maybe start with one.
With a close friend. And then, maybe just one boundary.
Yeah, and then you can like build on it. I think the biggest struggle with sharing boundaries probably with family. Like, those are always, because they're like, oh, you're just being sensitive. And it's just like, no, but it hurts my feelings when you say that. I'm trying to build my self-esteem here, people. Yeah. So it's important to just share those.
Yeah, and don't get discouraged if you might have to constantly have to repeat your boundaries. I know for me and with my siblings, I had to constantly repeat my boundaries so that they know, oh shoot, like Gloria's being for real. Like she's being serious about this. So don't get discouraged. Just know, like, so sorry, but this is my boundary. I would really appreciate if you would respect it. And it might, people who are used to you, it might take them some time.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So Gloria, how Christian are you?
Why she always gotta do that? Why you always gotta do that? I can't.
You started it.
I
so
didn't. It's okay. I'll get you next week.
I'm just going with the flow here.
I'll just get you next week. Anyways, so okay, listen. I was at an arcade thingy-majigga this weekend, right? And you know how the arcades have the motorcycling games, the shooting games, you know, like the shooting game. So then I was walking around, and Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. And I was walking around, and I saw this game, and I was like,
I just want to say, you did the motorcycle thing, and I won 3 times in a row. Okay,
but she wasn't versing me. Okay, so no, I wasn't in none of them. Thank you. So I was like, you know those little cubicles where they have like the 2-player games?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like which one should I go? I already did the Halo one, I did the Transformers one. Oh, and then I was like, oh, I should go in this one. But then it said The Walking Dead, and then it had a bunch of skulls on it, and I was like, well, my spirit don't feel right walking into this thing. So I was like, no, I can't.
You were okay playing Halo, but not Walking Dead?
What's Halo? Is it? But Halo, I can see your Halo. That's not Halo?
No.
That's not Halo? I can see your Halo. That's
definitely not.
What's Halo?
I don't know. All I know is it's a lot of violence, a lot of death. Like.
Oh no, but it was just the aliens. I don't know. It said Walking Dead. Me, I'm walking living. I'm not Walking Dead. Why am I gonna walk in there?
Okay.
Why am I gonna walk in there?
All right, Bishop Gloria. Wow.
That was so funny. Okay, how Christian are you?
Okay, I'm so Christian. So the other day I was on FaceTime with my friend Michaela, right? And then we're chatting, and then she like let out a scream, and she's like, "No!" And I'm like, "What's happening? What do I need to pray for?" Like I was ready, like I was about to start praying in tongues. And then she goes, "No, I just dropped I can't remember what she dropped." And I was like, wow. And she's like, Kim, you're such a Christian. You're already like, I was about to throw spiritual hands. It's like, you're about to get these prayers stated. Not today. Not today. Not my friends. Like, honestly, because like I pray for my friends all the time. So like anytime like someone comes for them, like I may not say much. Like I'm not going to go fight the person. But just know like, during my prayer time, I'm like, God, I don't like how this person spoke to my friend. You need to deal with them because this is not happening. Like, I'm gonna throw my hands, but in the spirit. Like,
armor of the Lord.
I'm like, yo, the devil's messing with my friend. I don't like it. But yeah, that's how Christian I am.
Dang, I want Kim fighting my bad. So thank you guys for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the episode, but we are just going to end off like we usually do. So Kimberly and those who are watching, I hope
you have drinks too. Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I hope you have your drinks ready. Let's take a sip together.
Sorry, awkward.
You want to clear your throat, Kim?
No, I'm joking. Okay.
Okay, let's clear our throats. And it goes like this. Real is, yeah. Ooh, real is, yeah. Whoa, real is.
Just slow it down.
Real is, yeah.
And you're watching The Awkward Adventures of Church Girls.
Bye.
Bye.